Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to start on page 23. And this is only the second time we've done this song. The first time, we were on little Zoom squares. So now you get to hear the full, robust feel of this song. And whether you are here with us in the sanctuary or at home, this may be a song you want to get up and move to. Just giving you that warning.
We don't clap, but you're welcome to sit down. I love this kind of song. Some months ago, Diana and I were having a conversation, and I said, I'd like to bring more the Mizrahi feel to our Shabbat, the songs that come from where I come from. I mean, there's other places in the Mizrahi world, the Eastern Mediterranean Jewish world, but from where I come from, Morocco and Algeria, those are the kind of songs that are, at weddings and bar mitzvahs, and everybody dances like that. It's really fun. Baruchim Habayim. Welcome. Welcome to our Shabbat. Welcome to our space here. For those of you who have made it here, we are so glad you came. And those of you at home, Welcome to Shabbat as well. Wherever you are watching us, you're with us on this Shabbat in this space, no matter where you are. So we have to, together, enter into this moment, enter into this space, make a transition from the week that was. You know, it's harder if you're home because you've been home. It's nice when you have to come here because then just the drive here helps you already move towards something else. So if you're home, just close your eyes for a moment and just imagine yourself surrounded by the banners, being really in the presence of the ark. Like, move chairs around, do something in your space that it feels different. That you're physically setting yourself in Shabbat consciousness. I hope that what you have next to you is, wherever you are at home, a little tzedakah box. We have our tzedakah box here in the sanctuary, but participate as we are. These months, through July, August, through September, our community continues to support an organization called RIP, Medical Debt, Rest in Peace, Medical Debt. It's an organization that empowers those of us who want to support them and donate to them to relieve millions of people from oppressive medical debt. And we know in this past year and a half that this has become more and more of an issue for thousands and thousands of people. And their goal is simply to help those who are the most in need first, to clean the slate for them, to clear them of any medical debt, that they can really take care of their health without having the burden of the mental pressure of being weighed down by debt. So that's what we are donating and supporting this month. Our tzedakah box here in the back of the sanctuary. Yours, I hope, is nearby. And if you don't have a physical tzedakah box, just go to our website and click on donation where it says donate and scroll down there to where it says tzedakah, and you will be able to make whatever donation you can to support RIP, Rest in Peace Medical Debt. So those of you who are here tonight, while we turn to page 14 and invite the angels into our space, singing Shalom Aleichem. I welcome all of you angels, if you so choose, to walk to the back of the sanctuary and make a tzedakah donation. Shalom Aleichem. If you're lighting candles tonight, please come forward.
Akadosh,
As for every Shabbat, members of our community come forward and light a candle to let us know and invite us into whatever it is they are celebrating, honoring, sometimes mourning. And today, and as in the future Shabbat, it's not just the people who are here, but also some of you who have emailed the office letting us know you'll be watching from home, but still wanting to be included on this Shabbat. Here on our left is Stu Haller, and Stu is lighting a candle in honor and memory of his father, Morris Jacob Haller, on his 14th yard site. And next to Stu is Cindy Campbell. Cindy is lighting in memory of her four-legged companion of 17 years, whose name was Bobby, and who made his transition last Sunday. Next to Cindy, we have Ia and Sarah, and they're here tonight lighting their candle to share with us that they got married just a few days ago, it seems, a couple weeks ago. And I know because I was there. And it was just an amazing, amazing ceremony. One for the books. The books that have triangles and circles. One for those kind of books. And at home, Barry, Zach, Caleb, and Ezra Thurman are lighting candles in celebration of their new home, purchased in West Seattle, and with gratitude to Hannah Nerbovig for helping them make their dream a reality. And I lit one candle just to celebrate my daughter entering her junior year in college. She's already there, and she starts officially on Monday. So whatever it is you are marking, celebrating, mourning, honoring, the words of the blessing are on page 1 of your prayer book. And if you know the words and you don't need to read them, feel free to cover your eyes. We cover our eyes to remind ourselves that which we are blessing is that which within us is yearning to receive that blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you. And as everyone is finding their seats again, and before they sit down, I invite you to all rise. We are on page 5, and we share together in the Baruch Hu, continuing to invite energies of blessing together. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Bless the Eternal, the one who is blessing. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Blessed is the Eternal, the one who is blessing eternally. Please be seated. We continue at the bottom of page 5 with Ahavat Olam. On top of page 6 are the words of the Shema. And usually we would rise for the Shema actually here in the congregation I grew up with, this Mizrahi Sephardi congregation. The Shema was always done seating. So we'll do it the Mizrahi way tonight, maybe because of the first song. I'm in the mood. So if you know the words, don't worry about it. Just put the prayer book down and close your eyes for a moment. We'll do a short meditation with the words of the Shema, because the words of the Shema are the quintessential, the central, the Jewish mantra, the Jewish meditation mantra that appears in the book of Deuteronomy. Chapter 6, verse 5, it is the sentence that, the verse that follows, which we'll do through the Ve'ahavta, tells us that we have to repeat all the time. That to have in our hearts, the heart at the time was the seat of the soul, of the mind. We have to repeat them, to keep them repeating within us when we sit in our house, when you walk on the way to whatever we are doing, when we go to bed, before going to bed, when we first rise in the morning. Always, His word shall always be in our consciousness. And they call us to listen, Shema. So right now, just let yourself drop into this moment. And just listen. And you can listen to whatever is around you, sounds. And you can listen to whatever is within you, beating of your heart, the pulsating of the blood coursing through your vein. You can listen to the sensations of your body. If you're sitting, pushing against your skin, just listen to what is right now. Without, within. Just pay attention. You can also listen to the thoughts coming and going. You can listen to the breath coming and going. And whatever you are listening to, thoughts, breath, sensations, sounds, heart beating, whatever you're listening to isn't who you are. You are that which is doing the listening, but you're not that which is being listened to. You're that which is listening right now of the thoughts, of the sensations, the breath, the sounds. But if you're not the what that you are listening to, then who is listening? And listen to Israel. Israel is this small voice within that wants to know truth, that wants the answer to the question, who is listening? Israel is that within us that pushes us to awaken, that pushes us to engage the path, the spiritual journey. that knows that however far the spiritual journey will take Israel, it will end up right here, right now. But it still needs to go on the journey. And no, the journey isn't what matters. Sorry. What matters is the realizing ultimately that we never had to go on a journey to begin with. So listen, listen, listen. Listen deeply, deeply. You listener, embrace the Israel within, that it might discover that Adonai Eloheinu, that the ineffable one, the nothingness, the emptiness, is that out of which everything comes to be, and into which everything ultimately recedes. That Yod He Vav He is the source of our being, and we are an appearance of it. We are a manifestation, the somethingness arising from nothingness. The Yesh Me'ayin, as the Hasidic masters called it. And then listen, listen, listen. Listen deeply, Israel, listen. Adonai Echad. There is no two-ness. Everything is one. You are not separate from that. You are that. We are that. Shema. 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 And just remain listening. Just remain the listener. While we sing the words. Just listen. And if you want to open your eyes, open them now and join us for the Ve'ahavta in the middle of page 6. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשבתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי וייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. And we meet the words of the Amidah on page 8 in your prayer book, and we rise. And we say together, Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Eternal One, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah ואלוהי רחל, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. Please be seated. So, there is this verse in this week's Torah portion that kept coming back. It's one of those Torah portions that gives us, called Kitetse, and gives us at first a series of laws to be understood and to be practiced in this ideal society that we are about to create. You know, we're in the book of Deuteronomy. This is the last of the 5 books of Moses, and that's the book that Moses takes the time to repeat the entire story since Exodus. And so there's a lot of those parts that also come and speak again of some of those rules of behavior, rules of existing really in a social context, and they are repeated here. And oftentimes at the end of each of those little snippets of you shall do this and you should behave this way, some of which are really anachronistic and challenging to us citizens of the 21st century. But at the end of all of them, of many of them, not all of them, but many of them, enough to be noticed, is that one verse. Do all of those practices, and it ends with Uvi'arta hara mikirbecha. Uvi'arta hara mikirbecha. Usually translated in most translation as, therefore you shall sweep away evil from your midst. Therefore you shall sweep away evil from your midst. And so I read this, and I think to myself, all of those rules and all of those laws, though they appear to be meant for the future constitution of the kingdom of Israel, of the kingdom of Judah, of the kingdom of the Jews, they also have an inner dimension that if missed, will not give us the fullness of what those divine injunctions were truly meant to do. I am one of those who believe that the Torah is a spiritual guide. And though it might work on the outside, it is really aimed on the outside, on the inside. Uvi'arta hara mir kirbecha, I looked at it as a personal injunction. And we're drawing really near to the high holy days. So I read it, not you shall sweep away evil from your midst. That means, ban the wrong ones and keep the good ones. It feels very exclusive. Get rid of what you think is evil. I couldn't read it this way. I read it as you shall sweep away evil from within you. From within you. See, bekirbecha is fine translated as in your midst, but it really has to do with, we know that kirbecha from korban, from the word that designates sacrifices. But the word that designates sacrifices, which actually is very interesting in the context of sweeping away evil as a kind of a sacrifice. That's just coming. Thank you. But it's also karov means nearness, right? It's the inner spaciousness, what's the nearest to us, what is unfolding within us. And then I really looked at the word that says sweep away. It's a very fascinating translation in the book that I was looking at. Uvi'arta. Uvi'arta. U is and the ta at the end is you. And vi'arta is from the word boer in Hebrew, which means to burn. To literally to be a flame. So sweep away feels very nice. But to set a fire, right? To burn down the evil within you is a different invitation, a different kind of connection. It's also interesting because if you remember just a few months ago when we burned the chametz in our house, so we sweep the chametz the evening on the eve of Passover. We go around the house. In my house, it's with a little candle and a feather. And we, with the feather, sweep away any piece of chametz that might still be in the house. And then in the morning, the next morning, you're supposed to burn the chametz. And that's the word is used, uvi'arta, right? And uvi'arta et chametz from your dwelling. You burn the chametz. But it also invites us, it's not just to burn the chametz, is just a ritual we do to declare, in fact, our house, our dwelling, clear of chametz, empty of chametz. So the word bi'arta also invites us to understand it as clear. Empty yourselves from the evil within you. You might need to burn it, I don't know. But at least the injunction is clear it from within you. See, it's very different from sweeping away. When I read sweeping away, I had this, it didn't sit right. It felt like getting rid of something like condescendingly. You know what I mean? This is more like an inward injunction to really look at the ra, and I'm going to talk about what that is within you, and then clear it. Empty yourselves from it. And if that needs to be through setting it afire, do that. What's the evil? What is translated as evil is the word ra in Hebrew. And we know that from the Yetzer Hara, the tradition that tells us that within each of us is this Yetzer, this impulse, this from the word Yetzirah, to form. There is this impulse to manifest Ra. Ra is, evil, is bad, is whatever the limitation of that word might be. The Yetzer Hara, this impulse, to me is the impulse, is that energy that is declared evil because it moves us away from our center. It moves us away from the spiritual ground of our being. It's that identification with the separate sense of self. In fact, I often associate Yetzer Hara with ego. To me, they are synonyms. They are one and the same. The ego that is that need within us to feel separate from source, from the divine, that tells us that we are our own entity, that we are our own little island. And if you really take a look at the motivation of that separate sense of self, if you look deeply, you see that at the core of it, what animates it is fear. Like, I really would like to invite you from time, whenever you get the chance, to kind of feel that what's motivate ego. And you'll find, others have found, people who have, engaged in modalities of deep introspection have found that really the source of that separate sense of self is fear. And the fear is a fear of life. There is a sense of when we drop into the ego that we are alienated from life. That in fact life is almost like an enemy to be tamed or conquered or boxed in. Because it is, unpredictable. It is like a raging sea. It comes at us from left field or whatever other sports that I don't understand you want to use. Right? It's life is scary when we let it be life. And that separate sense of self, that separate identity is afraid of the next thing that life might bring to us. And so it wants to control everything. Feel that addiction to control within you. It's manifesting in every way. The way we do the same things every day to keep things predictable in kind of a comfortable rut. The great poet says, keep us comfortably numb, right? Because we need that. We need predictability. We need the sense that we are in charge, that we are managing this, like we are good managers. And in fact, society brings back to us, with an untold grading system to tell us, to mirror back at us how good managers of our life we've been. Are we following the rules? Are we contributing to society the way we should? On and on and on, the whole story of our civilization, and we just gleefully, but in fact, because of this addiction to control, because of this fear, we fall into following those pathways of right and wrong, of acceptable and non-acceptable. But in fact, it never comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of fear. And when we fear life, we fear death as well. I'm feeling like I'm setting up the high holidays already, but really we are just weeks away. And it's uncanny that the themes are already right in our face, right here. So the Yetzer Hara, which is where I started here, is that impulse towards separateness, towards control, towards wanting to manage, towards wanting to be in charge. When we do that, we seek to multiply good experiences, fun experiences. And we run away as far as we can, as fast as we can, from any negative experience, hurtful experience. And so we are kind of caught in this, really, if you look at what our behavior every moment, 99.99% of the time, what we do, how we behave, is to increase pleasure and comfort and decrease displeasure and discomfort. From the clothes we wear, to the things we buy, think about all the things you've done today and how it was either to avoid displeasure or to increase pleasure, comfort, discomfort. And look at what Facebook has done. It's all about multiplying the likes and disregarding the dislikes. And our society is moving so much into this polarization that the ego is in fact imposing on us. It's all about likes and dislikes. You think like me, likes. Don't think like me, dislike. But the paradox is what we want is more of the good stuff. And so we're going to set our life and our expectations of life based on our likes, our needs for pleasure and our needs for comfort. And so we bumped into each other, and we would like everyone around to abide by our wishes, which are very simple. We just want to be happy. We just want to be happy. What we fail to understand is that the other person wants to be happy as well. And their version of that might clash with our version of it. And worse, the more we cling to the pleasure and comfort, the paradox is the more we cling to that, the more we want to grasp onto that, the more we make ourselves unhappy and miserable. Because all of those moments of great bliss, of great pleasure, whether it's your favorite ice cream or your favorite TV show, they have a beginning, they have a middle, but they have an end. And that's the difficult part. That's why we get miserable, because they end. And we want to hold on to them, and the more we want to hold on, the more miserable we make ourselves, because nothing lasts forever. Everything always changes. And that's life, as the song says. That's life. And that's why we are afraid of it. That's why the cycle continues. You see the cycle, how it goes? And that reinforces the ego's need of more control, more management, more pain, more suffering, more clashes, more angst and anxiety, more fights with each other. That's the Yetzer Hara. All that because it's moving us from source. It's moving us from knowing who we truly are, which is not this ego. There is beneath all of the thoughts that manufactures this separate sense of self, there is what some teachers call your true nature. Your true nature. And your true nature is that which is listening right now. You know, the Shema'er, the listener. And the Shema'er just listens. Right now, it's just aware of this moment. And the Shema'er, the listener, the awarer, doesn't need anything. It doesn't lack anything. It is everything, so it doesn't need anything else. It's already everything. And is just aware of everything. So he doesn't lack. He doesn't yearn for anything. Nothing is missing. Nothing needs to be controlled. Everything arises and passes away, and then something else arises and passes away, and I'm still here, observing, watching, listening. So there is no conflict inside the listener. As we rest as awareness, as we rest as the listener, the only impulse of the listener is the Yetzer HaTov, is the impulse for love. In fact, the Hasidic masters, the Kabbalists, told us the only reason why there is anything is because within the listener, that impulse for love arose, and the only response was to manifest this, and to continually, moment to moment, manifest this. So when we are able to move underneath the Yetzer Hara, the ego, the separate sense of self, and drop. Recently in meditation, I've called that drop to the bottom of the ocean of consciousness. And it's always agitated at the top of the ocean, waves crashing, words, thoughts, concept, anger, everything, right? But if you let yourself drop underneath the waves, and finally find your seat, your meditation seat, at the bottom of the ocean of consciousness. And just rest there. Just rest there. I mean, feel into that deep, abiding, calm, restfulness. And look at your heart naturally opening in that place. Yearning to love more. Yearning to express gratitude and compassion and kindness. So there are two ways that this verse in this week's Torah portion calls us to contact our true nature. There's two ways to read it. Two ways to really read that injunction, uvi'arta. The first one is burn it. Burn it down. Set it afire. Can you please put your mask back on? Thank you. Forcefully clear it. Just remove it. Get it out. I say that and my talit runs away from me. You can stay. The idea is deconstruct that separate sense of self. Like look at it deeply. And look at the illusion of it. What it's built on, the sand that it's built on, the quicksand that it's built on, and deconstruct it. Like, stop believing. There was a bumper sticker that says, don't believe anything you think. I love it. Love it. Don't believe anything you think. Right? Therapy is really good for that, for deconstructing the self, because it helps you look at all the way it manifests. And really, if you really look at the way your ego manifests, it really is a despicable entity. When I do that, I call my ego, despicable me, from the cartoon. It helps us see through therapy and other modalities the way our separate sense of self is a conditioned self, and to get in touch with what caused this conditioning, the way we behave, the way we act. Sometimes it's childhood, sometimes it's DNA, sometimes it's transmitted through the generations. Right? But that's the first uvi'arta, burn it down, deconstruct it. look at the non-solidity of it, the made-upness of it, the despicableness of it. The other one, the other uvianta, is connected to the Passover. Well, you empty your house from the chametz. The vi'arta is be empty. Just be empty. It's like in this case, there is nothing you have to do. Just drop at the bottom of the ocean and know yourself to be empty. Just be empty. Be the emptiness that is your true self. And know that that separate sense of self is really empty of any substance. It's just an agglomeration of thoughts, ideas, point of views, concepts. So if you want to, through a meditative path, work on the first, the burn it down, viarta, there is a mantra you can use in a meditation. So you close your eyes and you hold in consciousness that everything that is happening by itself. Everything that is happening by itself. That there is no you doing anything. Whatever is happening without a you there. So we can start to look at, so how are things happening if there is no me making it happen? Everything that is happening by itself. The other one, coming from a place of not knowing, of emptiness, is simply the inquiry. Who am I? Who am I if I don't let my thoughts tell me who I am? Who am I? With just that is really a beautiful inquiry. But who am I if I don't let my thoughts tell me who I am? Uvi'arta hara mikorbecha. May we all, from today, as we are already in Elul and through the high holidays, work introspectively to empty ourselves from the separate sense of self, that we might awaken to our true nature. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Amen. On page 23 is the song that reminds us that we are holy, that we are not that separate sense of self, that despicable me, but that we are Kodesh Ladonai. So as the lights grow dim into our space, I'd like to invite you into a few moments of meditations. Just meditation, actually. I was wondering which of the two mantras that I offered I was going to use right now. But I think we are already working with the listener tonight. So I'll use the second one. I'd like to invite us to step into meditation with shalom and leave the meditation space with shalom. So if you want to chant with me, even through your mask, take a breath now for shalom. And just let the listener, the Shema-er, let the listener rest with the breath, simply observing the body breathing in and breathing out. And don't do it from your Yetzer Hara, don't do it from the controller, from the manipulator who wants to control the breath, who wants to make the breath follow a certain rhythm, a certain pattern. None of that. Just observe from the Yetzer HaTov, from your true nature. That doesn't need the breath to do anything else than what it already does. That doesn't want to control. That doesn't want to be in charge. That just wants to rest, to Shabbat. Let yourself drop to the bottom of the ocean. And feel into the silence that exists there. And just be with the breath. Watch. Listen for the breath coming in. Listen for the breath going out. Who are you? Ask yourself, who am I? If I don't let the mind, let my thoughts tell me who I am. What is the presence that exists prior to any thought? And it's right here. It's always already been here. It never left. We mistakenly give it our name, but it has no name. It is just aware. So who are you? What is aware? If I don't let my thoughts tell me what is aware. Sitting at the bottom of the ocean, Shabbat-ing, observing the breath. Who am I? No answer can be found in a thought. Who am I? No answer can be found in the known. Who am I? let the chant of our shalom, of wholeness, harmony, inner peace, float beyond the walls of our space, pour into our streets, our neighborhoods, our city, our state, our country, our world. That all beings, may find in their lives, in their heart, in their world, their community, more shalom, more of that wholeness, more harmony, more peace, more healing. May our chants find anyone indeed in need of healing tonight, with the energies of that wholeness, of that inner physical harmony. That all may be included in the circle of healing we together are creating in this space and through the ether in your homes. That all those you know to be in need of healing may on this Shabbat find the shalom they need. Those you hold in your heart, and those whose names you have inscribed on our community's healing list. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak veYaakov, mi sheberach imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Leah veRachel, hu yivarech veYirafeh. It's Craig Wilson, Danielle Clark, Hillary Wilson, Phyllis Levin, Maxwell Bernard, David Mark, Richard Aharon Ben Chaim, Martine Yani, Marisa Lacame, John Gorham, Donald Meadow, Kelly Reagan, Katie Margaret Bank, Susan Austin, Simon Garcia, Jerry Pettis, Zoe Chaya Young, Janet Crowley, Dorinda Regan, Elizabeth Heath, Lynn Carroll, Leah Vetter, Russell Kaufman, Ernie Duffek, Cynthia DeAndreano Duffek, Eileen Wellens, Sid Hoover, Amy Lowe, Zeke Amstater, Juan Reyes, Alan Walton, Faye Verdon Goldberg, Amy Diane Bork, Eric Ramstedt, Charles Sugnetz, Sandy Morris, Katie Berry, Jerry Villa, Sydney Hannah Young, Arlene Ross, Pam Lesnar. ימלא רחמים עליהם לחזקם ולרפאותם ברפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. We share with them the plea, Moses' plea in an ancient wilderness for her sister Miriam. Elna, Refanala, please God, let healing be now. It's on page 33. Just a few days ago, I was singing this song in Lynn Carroll's hospital room, and made me think of her. I know you're watching from that hospital room tonight. We are holding you in the circle of healing, Lynn. And as the light come back into the sanctuary, we turn to page 12 for the Aleinu, and we rise. We say together, we are the ones given this way of praising the Holy One of all being, that we might understand and express the greatness of the One who shapes all creation. We celebrate our uniqueness and that of others, and seek to discover the wonder that we are. Therefore, we bend the knees, we bow, and we proclaim our gratitude before the ruler of all rulers, the Holy One of all being. As it is said, then we shall truly realize the Eternal One as universal being, and on that day the unity of being shall be celebrated by all. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. And we remain standing for the Kaddish, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 13 in your prayer book. As we do so, we hold in our heart, in our minds, the memories of those we have known, who have made their transition from this level of being and have returned to Source, the Source from which they had in fact never left. On this Shabbat, we hold in light of memory those who have made their transition in the last 30 days, for whom we mark Shiva or Shloshim. Mike Levin, Jeannie Warner, Willard Harlow. Mike Levin, Ricky Levin's father, Jeannie Warner and Willard Harlow, friends of Barbara Klein. On this Shabbat, we also hold light of memory, in light of memory for those who have made their transition this past year. Dr. Deho Schuler, Jerry Crouch, Fern Denker O'Connor, Gary Marmer, Lauren Lee, Sumvang Sisamu, Sarilu Koden, Marco Antonio Florian Corona, Klaus Schuler, Bill Harris, Michael Ruff, Irvin Faludi, Rebecca Risman, Paul Ponton, Mark Montefusco, Mark Sinclair, Carol Cohen, Carl Robert Finkelstein, Judy Turin, Ava Boyadosh, Daryl Summers, Gloria Funston, Yitzchak Leib Ben Bertha Ve'aharon, Norman Lubitsch, Marsha Whelan, Jack Cohen, Jeffrey Hollingsworth, Francesca Tolchin, Jaden Jones, Patrick Henmelt, Stephen Skip Wayne. On this Shabbat, we also hold in light of memory those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of their transition, is celebrated, commemorated at this time of the year. Ada Stromberg Topiol, Asher Hissiger, Barbara Bell, Dr. Judith Benedek, Eva Mendelson, Fred Davis, Hattie Kenner Goldish, Joseph Allwell, Kathleen Allwell, Morris Heller, Richard Edward Stern, Samuel Kaufman, Walter Buddy Williams. And we name in our hearts the names of those we remember on this night. And we say together, Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabba, be'alma divera chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'la'almei almaya. Yitbarach ve'ishtabach ve'itpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיים וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us, for all the household of Israel, and for all the peoples of the world. And let us say, Amen. Can you please put your mask right on? Thank you. I know it's not pleasant, and we want to run towards the away from the unpleasant, but we have to remain safe in this space. So thank you for understanding. I have a few announcements to make. First of all, you can sit down. Sorry, yes. We are starting again our study of Maimonides tomorrow at 10:30. We continue to doing it on Zoom until we can feel comfortable being together in a small room. But right now, it's going to be on Zoom. The High Holy Days are very near. They are 8 days away. As always, we are organizing, as we do every year, a food drive. I've always taken great pride in how much our small community contributes to the food drive every year. And I know we are away from each other, and it's hard to come together. And so I know we have very few opportunities. There is one for Slichot, one for the first Shabbat in September, where we have the chance to bring food with us in the space. We'll collect that. But we want to also invite you to just drop by the office here at Bet Aleph. We let the church know that even if we're not here, you can just drop the food there, and so that we'll collect it. So if you're home right now and listening to me, don't hesitate. Swing by the church. Bring it for Slichot if you're coming. People are still hungry. People still need to be fed, and we can't let the virus let them grow hungry. So please and thank you. This is also our last Shabbat in the space for the month of September. This is our last Shabbat in this space for now. In the month of September, we'll be moving to Center for Spiritual Living, to CSL. And so when we take down everything tonight, I'd like a few of you to stay. We're going to need to bring everything down to the Bet Aleph office downstairs so that we can schlep all of it to CSL next week. So please stick around and help us out. That would be really, really great. You can come back into the space. Stu, Sam. I'd like to invite you to rise. Actually, I'm going to do it differently. Can we move to the Kiddush and the Motzi? If a few people could help bring the tray, now we'll do that. And you know, I'm bringing the shofar because we have entered into the month of Elul, and when we come together in Elul, we also sound the shofar. But we want to not sound the shofar and then have a drink. I think it would be more sacred to do the opposite. And maybe I'll just do it by myself for now, while everything else comes around. Thank you. Since we cannot have our oneg as usual, as is obvious, we take a few minutes, even if it's a little bit of a lull in the service, that we can say the blessings together, so that we can continue to welcome Shabbat into our life and into our space. So whatever you have in your hand, raise it with me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, ורצבנו בשבת קודשו, באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לי קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלת לנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. If you have been given a piece of bread, hold it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. And please remain standing. The injunction, the blessing, is kind of the theme of tonight, though I didn't know it was going to be. The blessing is lishmoa kol shofar, to listen to the voice of the shofar, that primordial voice, that still, not so small voice that calls us to break free and to remember our true nature. Practice was better. All right.